You want to talk about failure? Let me tell you about the time we spent over $100,000 to build a course that we have never released. See, a few years ago, we were building a course on healthcare. I had to find my own insurance, and I got super frustrated. I'm an educated guy, and I couldn't even figure out how to get health insurance. So I knew if I had this problem, then a lot of other people did. So in classic I Will Teach You to Be Rich fashion, we looked at all the different approaches. We built our own system to find healthcare. And we were pretty sure this thing was going to be a hit. We actually tested it with a beta group of about 50 people. And that's when the problem started. Half the people didn't even really do it. Some of the people got mediocre levels of success. And overall, no one was really excited about it. Turns out people love to complain about their health insurance, but very few of us are actually excited to find a better one. That's when we knew we had a product failure on our hands. And in fact, it was so bad, the results from our beta tests were so bad that we decided to never release it. And that course, still to this day, sits in the I Will Teach You to Be Rich vault, where it will never be shown to the public. That's a huge failure. We put our heart and soul into this course. It didn't work. We thought it was amazing, but when we tested it, we didn't get good results. And so we took that money and we pretty much just ate it. That's not a good sign for a business. But what happened? After that, we could have given up. We could have said, we're never going to create another course. But instead we said, let's learn from this. Let's figure out where we went wrong. And we definitely did go wrong early on in that process. And we never made that same mistake again. I want to talk to you about failure because it's so common in the online business industry to only talk about successes. Look at my $5 million launch. Look at my private jet. Look at how I fly first class. And all that is great. But so many people cover up all the failures and all the fears that they faced as they were building their business. Well, I actually want to open up the kimono and talk about some of those fears and talk about some of those failures. Because I know a lot of us are consumed by a fear of what if. What if I create something and nobody wants it? What if I join this course and it's just like every other course I've joined? I don't take any action at all. I actually went online and scoured the web to find some examples of the same fears that I know afflict a lot of us. Let's take a look at just a few of them. I feel like I'm missing out on important life and career opportunities because I get intimidated too easily. I'm a university student with a 4.0 GPA, but outside of school, I have pretty much nothing going for me. I've had a job for a grand total of 1 month in my entire life, and I'm 21 years old. I don't have a driver's license. I never go outside my comfort zone. I'm worried that even if I succeed in school, I won't succeed in the real world because I'm so passive. I'm always procrastinating something that I know I need to be doing, usually because I'm so worried about the outcome that I don't even attempt it. This is chilling. I mean, how many of us feel at least one part of this? We never get outside our comfort zone. We're worried about failing. It cripples us so we don't even dare to try something new. Let me give you another one. I get intimidated and just start thinking, I don't want to try because I'll probably fail. The biggest thing I struggle with is second guessing myself. I'll make a good, strong choice. I'll ask for a gig or a job that will help me get to my goals. And then I spend the rest of the time with the awful internal script, but you don't know what you're doing. You don't know that's right, even when it is. How do you deal with second guessing yourself even though you're receiving positive feedback and moving towards what you want? It's torture. These are the words of people just like us. People who know that they want to do better. People who are willing to put the time in. And yet every time they try to take one step forward, their fear drags them screaming backwards. Who wants to live like that? The fact is, we all have failures. In fact, the most successful people have the most failures of all. Why? Because they took the most chances. I want to talk to you about failures and about fears and about how we react to them. And I want to introduce a simple philosophy to you that we use in the Zero to Launch program. It's not a failure, it's a test. Whenever something doesn't go the way we want it to, it's not a failure. It's just a test. Introducing that philosophy has changed everything for us. Why? For two reasons. First of all, it takes the blame off of us. We're not trying to blame ourselves. Guilt is not the end goal. The end goal is to be successful. But what it does is it allows us to get rid of that guilt and become more constructive. It's a test, which leads us to number two. What are you going to do about it? If you're running a test and something doesn't work out the way you want it to, what do? You just pack up and go home? Of course not. You say, all right, what's version 2? What's version 3? What's version 4? That's what a test is. So by changing our mindset from it's a failure to it's a test, we eliminate the guilt and we focus on moving forward. I'll give you an example of exactly how we did this. We had a course, another course we launched, where we were certain it was going to perform well. Okay? Came out, people were excited, and I actually opened up the course for sales one night. Crazy results. Nobody even scrolled down to the bottom of the page. People weren't even asking about price. They just weren't excited. We had catastrophically misjudged something about the product development, and we just didn't know what. In fact, when people joined the course, they actually started refunding within 1 hour. This never happens. I knew something was wrong, and I actually pulled it off the market. Now, here's where you have two divergent paths you can take. When somebody launches an online business and they finally come up with their first course, what happens? If it doesn't sell, most people go into marketing tactical overload. What do? They send out email after email after email. They lower the price. They send out increasingly pleading emails. Hey guys, it's really important that you buy this. Here's why. And they basically burn any goodwill they have going forward. It's desperation, and it doesn't look good. Instead, we did something very different. We pulled it off the market. We started doing more research as to what went wrong. And we discovered that way back here, we had missed a couple of subtle insights about the customer research process. Now, I teach you all of this in the Zero to Launch program. We went back, we fixed those things, and we relaunched the program. Now, here's the amazing part. The first time we launched it, we had about a 3% conversion rate on a webinar. The next time we launched it, same slides, no change. We did not change one word on the slides. We had over a 19% conversion rate. That's the power of research. And that simple act is worth millions to us. So what does it mean for you? The key takeaway here is when something fails, and it will fail, it's not a question of if, things will fail. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to send out increasingly desperate emails? Or are you going to give up and say, this business thing is fake, it's a fraud? Or are you going to say, where did I go wrong? Was it in step 1, 2, 3, maybe 3A? These are the systematic parts that I teach you in Zero to Launch. It's not about failure because you will fail. It's about how you react to it. And one last thing. Sometimes we are our own worst critic, but you can't ignore the critics who will constantly take pot shots at you. It's scary to think about what will my family say? What will those other bloggers say if I try to sell something? What will anyone say? And here's one thing I've learned. There are people who made comments about I will teach you to be rich early on when I was starting off. It was actually pretty nerve-wracking. And I saved those comments because I knew one day if I kept doing the right thing, I focused on the right process, I would still be around. I went back to visit those sites as I was preparing for this video. And I looked at them. Some of them took pot shots in 2004, 2006, 2009. Guess what? Most of those critic sites, they're gone. It's so easy to be a critic. Anyone can be a critic. You can watch on Twitter, critique all these celebrities. Look at that stupid outfit they're wearing. It's easy to be a critic. It's hard to put yourself out there, to actually add value to the world. Maybe to make a mistake, but then to fix it and keep going forward. Don't let fear of other critics hold you back. They're always going to be there because it's easy. But the people who succeed are the people who say, yes, I'm going to fail. I know it. What am I going to do about it? I'm not going to let these critics hold me back. I'm not I'm going to stop because I'm afraid of what might happen. I'm going to keep trudging forward. I'm going to follow a system. And if I do that, I will be successful. This is what we're going to cover in extraordinary detail in Zero to Launch. I hope you're there for the ride.